Welcome back, everybody. And I got a great question for you today. If you don't like a book, do you A, not read it, or B, try to make it disappear for everyone like it's a cursed object you found behind the Dunkin' Donuts? Yeah, today we're talking about book bans and the data behind them, and the group that basically said, cool, we're not doing that. Meet a night against book bans. And let me crank open that screen share as we love it so much. And screen two, there we go. Aha. So I'm Johnny B, the book shepherd, and around here we do fast, clear explanators with a little humor so the facts actually stick and you don't just, well, close. Today, Unite Against Book Bans, or the UABB, what it is, why it exists, what's happening with challenges and bans, and what you can do that's more effective than posting, "This is dystopian," then go to bed, as most do. So, Unite Against Book Bans is an initiative organized by the American Library Association, the ALA, which is a 501c3 nonprofit, and UABB says it works with 200 plus partner organizations and tens of thousands of supporters to help communities push back on censorship. It launched around 2022 when ALA and a coalition of more than 25 organizations joined forces to oppose book bans and defend the freedom to read. Yay, freedom. Um, think of it as a national group chat, but instead of memes, it's toolkits and strategy. And it's a quick vocabulary for those who may not have watched my first video on book bans, challenge and ban, and the sneaky one. Because the internet's going to fight about what these terms mean pretty much forever. A challenge is basically we're not banning it, we're saying it needs to come to a group of people to decide if it is worthy of a ban or not, because it may have sensitive subject matter or what the person who issued the challenge or group of people issued the challenge finds sensitive. Um, so a lot of these disputes start out as challenges, and someone formally objects to a book being available in a school or library, and outcomes can include restrictions, like limited copies or only available in a adult-only area, relocation, or outright removal. And the ALA tracks these as attempts to censor library materials and or services. And then there's the phrase that sounds like a Marvel villain, but is very real: censorship by exclusion. That's when books get quietly restricted, avoided, or never purchased in the first place because the staff are trying to prevent conflict or are required to. So, meeting never happened. They just moved the books or got rid of the books. Gasp. So it's like a restaurant removing everything spicy from the menu because one guy yelled at the cashier in 2022. In 2023, 1,247 attempts to censor materials, 4,240 unique titles were targeted. And in 2024, 821 attempts and 2,452 unique titles targeted, still one of the highest years ever tracked. And the drop doesn't automatically mean problem solved between 23 and 2024. UABB and the LAA point to underreporting, censorship by exclusion, and legislative restrictions as reason the numbers on paper can fall while pressure stays intense. They're never reported, numbers go down. Gasp. And here's really the big shift in all of this. In 2024, the ALA reports 72% of demands to censor books came from pressure groups and government entities, while parents, the people that probably would object the most, 16%. Think about that. 72% from everybody else that's not a parent to 16% parents. Those numbers are quite staggering to me personally. Maybe to you, maybe to other people. And the remainder came from other sources. So if you picture one random parent storming in with a highlighted paragraph, a lot of the times it's more like organized campaigns with spreadsheets. Let me paint you a quick picture. This is a composite of stories librarians describe, not really one specific person. So, a school librarian, let's call her Miss Riviera, gets an email. We're challenging 30 books, not one, 30. Now, Miss Riviera's job isn't just books, it's also student relationship help, literacy support, technology, and please stop printing 200 pages of memes. But suddenly her week becomes pulling titles, documenting why they were selected, responding to policy, prepping for a committee review, and then, because it always ends up here, a public meeting. She knows 1 to 2 minute comment won't fix everything, so she finds the UABB's meeting guidance. She coordinates with a few parents who are like, I just want my kid to have choices. And she brings printed one pagers or book resumes that explains what the books are and why they matter educationally in a format designed to hand to committees and officials. And let me open up that. There we go. And here's really the key to all of this. Even when the books stay, the cost is time, stress, and the message to staff anything you buy might turn into a public trial. That's one reason censorship by exclusion becomes a thing. And let's pop that one back open. And Miss Riviera didn't go to grad school to become a part time constitutional lawyer, yet here we are. Now let's get practical. What does the UABB actually provide? They have an action toolkit. The UABB hosts an action toolkit to help you respond locally, how to organize, speak effectively, and take action in your community. It's basically how to be effective in public without turning into the Joker. That is a Batman joke for those who are not comic fans. Meeting guidance rather, where a lot of this is really decided. The UABB emphasizes many book ban fights happen at library boards, school boards, and city council meetings and provides a guide for showing up effectively. And number three, they have book resumes. Yes, that is a real thing. The UABB and ALA launched a free collection of book resumes to help librarians, educators, parents, students, and advocates defend access to frequently challenged books. And the book resume site notes the campaign was launched with support from Steve and Lori Patash Family Foundation and the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation. So, books, my greatest weakness is that I care too much. Also, books. Skills include making adults argue at 9:07 p.m. on a Tuesday. Again, ALA polling found 71% of voters oppose removing books from public libraries. And after hearing arguments from both sides, 67% oppose removing books from school libraries, which are different than your regular library. Which means the national mood, nationally, please stop acting like libraries are the Thunderdome. 2 books enter, 1 book leave. No, the public doesn't want this. Sometimes these disputes end up in court. For example, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear a challenge in the Llano County, Texas library removals case on December 8, 2025, allowing a lower court ruling to stand. And here is the article for that. And I will have all these links down in the description below. But basically, the legal translation of this, we're not touching that. Good luck, everyone. Thank you, Supreme Court. If you want actions that actually matter, know your local processes, your policies, reconsideration procedures, meeting rules. UABB's meeting guidance is a solid starting point. And here, let me pop that one back open. So basically, you show up calm, brief, specific. A lot of meetings limit comments, so preparation really matters. Use the toolkit plus book resumes. These are made to be shared with committees and officials and not just bookmarks that you forget about. Report censorship attempts when you can. Tracking is hard because many challenges aren't publicly documented. It never happened. And underreporting explicitly noted as an issue. Again, it never happened. Nobody said it happened on paper, so it didn't happen, which is ridiculous. Support library workers because when speaking up gets risky, silence spreads. Libraries are one of the last places where you can walk in, spend $0, and leave with a bigger worldview. Let's not shrink that. And to sum this all up, read freely, speak calmly, and bring snacks to these boring meetings that shouldn't happen in the first place. Um, so yeah, let me stop the screen share here. A little bit on the political side today. Notice my background here. But I think it's very important, especially if you're a book reader, having your list of options available to you, and also especially as a parent. Um, if there's only two books to read about science, that's not all of science. It just means it's all that's publicly available to access. There's something wrong with that. So I'm not saying some things shouldn't get challenged because they are meant for an adult audience instead of a child audience, and children currently have access to them. That's a different debate. But banning books outright, that's where I got a problem. And there are tools, there are resources, there are organizations to help you understand the big waters that go in involved with this and the giant wave crashes of policies and meetings that never happened, but they did happen. That's also kind of infuriating to me. But that notwithstanding, I will have links to all of these in the description below. Feel free to do your due diligence if you so choose, and take action also if you choose. Because again, everything's a choice. Whether you want to speak up or not, should you speak up or not speak up? Totally up to you. I think that is going to do it for today. Link to my Patreon if you want to support what I'm doing here is down in the description. Also, the free public Discord available to all, also down in the description, as well as all these resources will be available in the description. There's a descriptive joke to be made, but I'm not going to do it today. And as always, keep on booking on.